Hi, I'm Katie Kilroy, and I'm really excited to introduce the Code Plus Zoom review team. After being on Zoom for about a year and a half, they were given the very generic scope of do something to improve teaching and learning at Duke on Zoom. And they've really come up with something very creative, and I'll just hand it over to the team to introduce themselves and the other team leads on the project. Alice, I think you're going to start.
Yep. Okay, so good morning, everyone. We are the Zoom app development team, and today we're going to show you guys our web app called Review that we worked on for the past 2 months. So this is the whole team, which includes our 3 very cool project leads. Without them, our project would be nothing close to what we have now, so we're very grateful. And then there's all the students. I'm Alice, and I got to work with Akash, Helen, Arushi, and Ben. And then we have all our stakeholders who met with us multiple times and gave us very useful feedback. So today we're going to talk about how we narrowed our scope, the problem we chose to solve, and our solution, all the work we did this summer, and future steps we could take. This is some quick background on Zoom, just in case anyone is lucky enough to not know what Zoom is. And like Katie said before, we had to narrow our scope and find a problem that was worth fixing and also feasible in 10 weeks. So here are some areas we considered, including screen sharing, breakout rooms, and note-taking. So ultimately, we decided to focus on automatically organizing and categorizing our Zoom recordings. Right now, if a student wants to rewatch a lecture and they don't know the date of the recording, they have to search through all of their recordings and watch portions of each one to see if it's the right video. And maybe this isn't too bad if you have a lot of time on your hands, but if you don't, and it's midterm season, which is almost the entire semester, and you need to study efficiently, it's probably not that fun. So as you can see from this screenshot from Sakai, if you click on the Zoom, on the left-hand side, this is what a reoccurring lecture meeting looks like. And as you can see, they're all titled the same thing. And it's there's basically no context. So it's pretty hard to figure out what each lecture is actually talking about. And to validate our scope and make sure that we're doing something useful and relevant, we conducted a survey of Duke students, and we got 19 responses. And here are 2 of the most important questions we asked. And the questions are on a scale of 1 to 5, where 1 is strongly disagree and 5 is strongly agree.
Our tool Review is a web app that uses video transcripts to summarize and tag recordings to make reviewing lectures and studying for tests easier for students with hopefully minimal effort by the professor. So before we explain the specific features of our web app, talk about some of the biggest design decisions we made, and those decisions were actually pretty hard to make because we didn't really know what we were doing at the start. But one of the first things we chose to do was to make a standalone web app because we want to allow for integration with learning management systems in the future. And some of Duke schools use Sakai while others use Canvas. And we didn't want to limit our app to one platform because that would really lock out half of Duke basically. And also by making it with Flask, we were able to directly use the Code Plus trainings from the first 2 weeks. We also chose to integrate single sign-on with Shibboleth, which is a way to authenticate users and allows us to differentiate between students, faculty, and staff. And this is something that other Duke systems use, like Duke Hub and Sakai itself. And then our final decision was we wanted to store as minimal data as possible. And we did this by holding data about the recordings rather than hosting the recordings themselves. So we store things like the transcripts, the summaries we generate, the tags, but we don't actually host the videos. We just keep the link to them. And this saves space and improves speed, which allows our app to scale in the future. It allows videos from multiple platforms, and it works easily with our app. And it also allows us to automatically update the web app every day without taking too much time.
The 3 key features of our web app include auto-generated content, crowdsourcing, and searching. For auto-generated content, we have code that automatically generates summaries and keywords based on the transcripts of recordings. The summaries are generated using a Python natural language toolkit using a technique called extractive summarization, where the text is summarized by selecting a subset of words that retain the most important points in the entire transcript. The tags are auto-generated using the term frequency inverse document frequency method, which is a combination of the term frequency, so how often the word appears in a single text of interest, versus inverse document frequency, how often the word appears in the collection of all texts. And this auto-generated content provides a good overview of what a recording is about, but sometimes it isn't always perfect. There are small errors here and there. So that brings us to our second point of crowdsourcing. The goal of crowdsourcing is to make this an interactive app and to encourage participation from students. Examples include changing the titles of recordings, since the current LTI integration only allows pre-existing meeting titles, such as Zoom meeting or lecture, and so those aren't very helpful. Students can also add tags or upvote and downvote tags based on how helpful they found them in the video. Students can write notes and share those with the entire class. And professors can also add recordings to provide supplementary materials for students to better understand the content. Finally, searching is another key feature that we have. The current problem with the LTI integration is that you can only search by title and ID, so it's very hard for students to find a specific word or topic out of all of the recordings. So the solution that we came up with is a search bar that searches through the entire video and transcript. This is done using a Postgres full text search that uses natural language processing to search for words or phrases in the database. Here's a quick overview of the actions we intend users of our app to do. First, students have a quick, low-effort way to find one specific video out of many recordings, and they are guided in this by features such as date, the title of the video, summary, tags, and also the search bar. Second, students can also watch videos and glean important information from the summary or tags just at a simple glance without having to click through the entire video. As for instructors, they can add videos and key information from any platform, including Zoom, YouTube, and Panopto, so they're not limited to the recordings they have on their Zoom account and can provide additional videos for students to watch. And lastly, instructors can also monitor users and their activity for accountability purposes and to track engagement so that they can provide credit or extra credit in their classes.
So in order to give you all a better understanding of review, we've put together a couple of use cases to give you all a short overview. So Nina is an undergraduate student majoring in math who needs to find more information about digraphs for her next exam.
Nina wants to review her professor's digraphs lecture. She visits a web app called Review and logs in with her student information. She sees that the videos are in chronological order and are labeled with tags. Nina is curious about the tags, so she uses one to find videos about digraphs. After clicking on the tag digraphs, she is able to see all videos with the digraph tag. She watches the video and realizes that a key concept is missing from the page, so she enters the edit view and puts it in the summary. While she is there, she decides to add a model tag so that she can more easily find it and link related lectures to this video at a later date.
Now meet Dr. Hart. Dr. Hart is a professor of mathematics who needs a tool to organize his class recordings because he teaches multiple classes.
Dr. Hart has noticed that the summary section of his video on digraphs has recently received student updates. And although his TA usually reviews the summaries to make sure that they are accurate, Dr. Hart has some time to do it himself. He goes to the digraphs page and reads over the summary. After doing so, he decides that the essence of the lesson is captured fairly well, so he checks the instructor-approved checkbox. Now, Dr. Hart sees a tag in the tag section that shows a flaw in the student's understanding. He wants to know who wrote it so that he can be sure to correct the student, as this is a very important part of the next exam. He navigates up to the Settings drop-down in the navigation bar and selects User Activity. Here, he can see all the changes made by students. Although he is unable to see exactly what the changes made in summaries and such are, he can see which students have changed summaries. From this view, he is also able to see when and by whom tags are added or deleted. He can also see what those tags are. In addition, when a title is changed, he is able to see who changed the title and what the title was changed to. Using this feature, Dr. Hart can ensure that any nefarious changes to his recordings are properly dealt with. After taking a look at the User Activities section, Dr. Hart decides that he wants to add a lecture video as a supplement for his Zoom lecture from the day before. Links to the Add Recording page can be found at the end of the home page or in the Settings drop-down. He selects one and fills out the necessary information. Because it isn't a Zoom recording, Dr. Hart must upload it himself. He will also have to fill out the summary himself if the video does not come with a transcript, or if the transcript available has no punctuation. A link for the video is required in this step. Once Dr. Hart hits save, the new video will appear on the home page. Dr. Hart now realizes that he does not yet want his students to be able to access this new video. He goes to the edit page of the video he just uploaded and clicks the hide button. He navigates up to the Settings drop-down and selects Hidden Recordings. Here, Dr. Hart can see all the videos that have been hidden. Once he is ready to move the video back to the home page, he goes to its edit page, navigates to the bottom of the page, and selects Show.
Given that we only had about 10 weeks this summer, we had to prioritize which features we wanted to include, which of course left us with many ideas for our next version. After talking to our stakeholders from OIT, like Charlie, Learning Innovation, like Chris, and faculty like John Board and Jeremy, we came up with a list of needed next features. And one of the most common suggestions we got was ensuring multi-platform support with common recording tools like Panopto and Warpwire. So although our current web app allows for the manual entry of non-Zoom recordings, we would look to automate this process as well. And another common suggestion we received was to pull topics and dates from an instructor's syllabus to better align the content we're auto-generating with the correct and targeted terms. And in the future, we hope to continue to improve upon the functionality of our app and improve the accuracy of our auto-generation by testing with longer 75-minute lecture videos. And as we approach the end of the project, we all have so much to take away from the summer, from the point we were at just about 10 weeks ago, where we were just understanding how APIs work and figuring out what all could be possible with Zoom. We've grown so much through trial and error with different design ideas. We came up with functionality that we didn't even know would be feasible, like the authentication features, and we've had to leave a fair share of fun ideas behind too. But one of the most important parts of this project and the most valuable part was continuously getting user feedback at all parts. So for example, when we were talking to students, we were unsure of how likely they would be to use a crowdsourcing feature like in our tool, but our surveys showed us that they would, and they would love a feature like that. But when we conducted usability studies, we found that some of our language was confusing, and if we changed the word summary or created a new section for notes, people would feel more comfortable about adding their own thoughts and contributing to the class environment. So overall, experiences like these are just so valuable, especially in this group setting, because we're able to bounce ideas not just off of each other in our team and our project leads, but we also got to see our tool used by so many different people with so many different perspectives, and that's helped us improve a lot. So in addition to all of these technical skills we developed, we've learned a lot about the project lifecycle and how to bring our ideas to life. And it's been great. We're also proud of this project. So that's all we have. Thank you so much for listening to our presentation, and we'd love any questions or comments.
Very impressive.
Good job, you guys. Elizabeth has a comment for you guys. Just check the chat. Was there any conversation among the team members about allowing changes or edits to be made anonymously by students?
There was a little bit of talk about that, but we kind of opted not to go that route because we wanted for students to be able to held accountable for any improper actions that they performed on the app. And also this this sort of format would also help teachers to be able to identify which students are participating more on the actual web app versus who isn't.
At least one of
Another-
their faculty stakeholders screamed over and over again, do not let people post anonymously, do not let people post anonymously. And so they took that feedback and incorporated it.
Awesome.
I just wanted to add for that, only professors or people with like staff privileges can see the user activity. For students, it's all anonymous.
Charlie, did you want to say something?
Oh, yeah, I just wanted to say that I thought it was a great experience. The team was quite responsive, and the cadence of their changes and the ability to deliver on things was quite great. I was really impressed.
Yeah, I completely echo that. This was one of the more pleasant and effective teams I've worked with, including in industry. so they did a great job.
That's saying a
I love
lot.
to hear it.
It's either saying a lot about them or little about the teams I've
Little
seen
about-
in industry.
that's
One
right.
of the two.
That's right. Great. Thank you so much.
Team leads,
So-
did you have anything you wanted to add? I know Joe, Liz, Katie. Joe, we appreciate you joining us from Fuqua.
Thank you, Jen.
I think you are one of the first non-OITers to serve as a team lead. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We're glad to
I
have you.
want to echo, I mean, this has been a fabulous experience for me personally and professionally. And I echo Jeremy's feedback on the team experience. I thought this was a fabulous team. I thought it was a really wonderfully diverse team. I thought they brought that to the discussion, and it mattered quite a bit. And the leadership, particularly from Katie's perspective on bringing in guidance and coordination among the team, can't be understated. I think that they learned a lot from that aspect, and it will carry on for them in the future. Not just working with each other, but actually how to step forward and lead.
Thank you, Joe.
Well, thank you. Katie?
I don't have anything to add. It was a wonderful experience, and I think you all did a fantastic job.
Thanks. Thanks for that. And Liz, I think we started calling you a subject matter expert and a coach for the team leads, and you ended up becoming a team lead yourself.
I have not led nearly as much as Katie and Joe, but I've really enjoyed working with this team. They have done some very exciting things, and I hope that their project can go forward. I don't know if it's going to work out or not, but the ideas that they came up with are really innovative, and they taught me a lot about how to do some of these presentations, especially